Yo, what up, Street Talks? There came. All right, the thought. The thought is on self-outpression. So to be more assertive and to be self-assertive and stuff like that. So typically we use the word self-expression, and I don't think that's really the best term. So I think typically when we talk about like self-expression, we mean to say, oh, just talk about how you feel. Let's just talk about our sensitive feelings, which is, you know, fine and good. But I don't think it's actually as accurate as I would like it being described. So outpression means you as an artist, individual person, you have all this epicness within your, you know, your body from your toes to your head and everything in between. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to press it outwards into the real world, into embodied reality, and you're trying to get it outside of just your head and your toes or whatever. So you're trying to get it out there into the real world. So how do we fail and when do we fail? We fail when we're afraid of expressing ourselves, outpressing ourselves, and asserting ourselves. Now, typically like Judeo-Christian, utilitarian modern society reality says, thou shalt be meek, thou shalt be humble, thou shalt not speak thy mind, thou shalt be a good sheeple or a good member of the herd. Now the problem then is, like, even with Catholic morality, what was your first mistake? Being born. But it's like, yo, I didn't ask to be born. So it's just kind of like one of these frustrating things that, like, on some ways you're trying to be blamed for something you're actually not even culpable of. And I know for myself, I have a strong sense of justice, and this is what I think I realize about myself. I get extremely angry when I feel like a certain injustice has been done onto me. And how do I measure injustice? Where the logic or the rationale or the culpability doesn't make sense. Because, like, I understand it if, like, I'm judged negatively because I'm actually culpable for it. But if I feel like I'm not culpable for it, why should I be judged, right? So for example, if I wasn't asked to be born, I wasn't asked to be born, I was just thrust into this world mercilessly, right? Then, how can original sin exist where, like, how can one be born a sin? This is like ludicrous, okay? So this is kind of not a good way to think about things. So instead, I think it's actually better for us to think like, better for us to think about, yeah, to assert ourselves. Because, okay, so think about it. You as an artist, you as a creator, whatever, you have your body, right? You have this fleshy, three-dimensional thing, and all of your wisdom, all your ideas, thoughts, memories, whatever, stem from this body. Now, if we believe that the soul cannot exist independently of the body, and the body and the soul is just contained within the body and the mind, and it's all the same thing, then once you're dead, your body dies, your soul and your mind also dies with you. And let us assume that the possibility for uploading your consciousness to the cloud or living 1 trillion years is actually not possible. Then what is one to do with their life? So my basic solution is, then it seems like the point of life is to wield your instrument, which is your body, your hands, you know, your soul, and to assert yourself and put yourself out there, right? And even following the footsteps of Heraclitus, he said, you know, essentially one of the most noble things we could do as humans is seek immortal fame amongst mortals. So whereas the most of us like to stuff ourselves like cattle, or in today's world, we like to entertain ourselves to death. But anyways, so I think what we really want in life is, we want a life with more excitement. We want a life with more joy. We want to have more physical vigor. I know like even the last 2 days, I think I slept bad one night or I had coffee too late, and physically I felt weak for the last 2 days and I felt like shit. And now I got some good sleep, had some good meat, had some kimchi on tap, and now I feel fantastic. Yo, check out this car. Isn't that wicked? Oh, I love that. That's so cool. That is badass. USA, USA. So cool. Okay. All right. Anyways, so yeah, it looks like then what do we want in life? One does not want to be self-contained. One, like, imagine like you're the center monad of the atom. What you want to do is you want to extend yourself. You want to press yourself outwards. You want to expand yourself. And how does one expand themselves in their mind and everything in between? So part of it could be like a practical physical thing. So for example, when I go out and I walk around the city, I actually do feel that like part of me is like I'm kind of like conquering the city, because the more I walk and traverse the city and the more I see, like I feel that my vision could kind of conquer everything. And I look at all this stuff and then in my mind I'm like, this all belongs to me. And yeah, even with all these things here, to just contain yourself inside your small apartment and stuff like that is certainly a mean life. It's not a good life, and it seems like the best life is a life in which you actually do feel that you got no limits, you got no boundaries, and you got no glass ceiling. So, and this is actually one thing I really believe in, is that like no matter your race, your sex, your gender, your whatever you is, that society cannot hold back your personal ambitions, your thoughts, your artworks and stuff like that. Yet, and I think this is the thing that's like quite sad about many Americans, is that like out of most of the world, we actually do have the highest number of like personal or individual or mental or artistic self-expression freedoms, yet most of us, we actually don't utilize it because, you know, either we're being entertained to death or we're all addicted to social or some other things. And I would certainly say one of the most formative things that I personally experienced is that, like, especially after going abroad and stuff like that, is like, yo, man, you never appreciate something until you lose it. And so even for me, I never really appreciated my freedom until I left America and then I came back. And so I'm like, man, moral of the story is I'm gonna allow myself to become more emboldened, to speak my mind more freely and censor myself less. So self-assertion. Self-assertion means that you are who you are, right? And there is so much randomness, chaos, and chance which created you who you is. Like, you didn't have the option of being born a male, a female, you know, whatever nationality or race you is. Like, you had no control over that. And yet, in some ways, society and other people try to make you feel bad for who you are, or let's say the way you talk or stuff like that. Even for me, like, my style is to interrupt people, and I talk the way I do. My accent is the way it is, you know, whatever. Yeah, everyone's trying to make you feel bad about who you are. And so in some ways, and this is also kind of like a Christian morality thing, is that you're kind of a bad person and you're not allowed to be yourself, and the only way to seek redemption is to become more like Jesus. This is the general gist, and the whole life you can never become legitimate, or you can never self-redeem yourself. And so yeah, essentially most of modern morality tells us thou is not worthy, thou is a sinner, thou is a bad person, and thou must atone for thou's self. And therefore, even in Chinese saying, there's like a Shaoshin, or there's some sort of saying is that like, thou shalt make thyself small. And so then it becomes a moralistic ethical duty to become small, to negate yourself, to negate your wills and your desires. And actually this is where I think Buddhism is not a good trend either, because even Buddhism, which actually I think is for the most part pretty good in terms of the tenets, but Buddhism is all about negation of the self and negation of the will, and to make that themselves like, make yourself kind of like a happy cow. And I'm like, yo, isn't life more than that? Isn't life about to explore, to conquer, and you know, also similar things too, right? You're not allowed to be violent and stuff like that. Yet, come on, who doesn't like watching? Okay, I'll only speak for us men, right? Who doesn't like to watch boxers fight or UFC? And okay, if you ever watched a Marvel movie or Superman movie or any action movie where there's guns, punching, violence, whatever, come on, tell me who does not find that entertaining, right? So, you know, and then people have been watching gladiator fights forever too. So then people will make the rationale, oh, you know, that's okay, that's just entertainment because it's not real. And I'm like, yo, it might not be real, but the emotions you feel are still real, and you still kind of enjoy it. So like, to me, perhaps what movies give us is, it gives us a good conscience to enjoy our humanistic, animalistic, you know, kind of more beast-like desires and urges and primal joys. Because yeah, I think part of us humans, we like to attack, we like violence. And even one thing that Nietzsche said, which is interesting, is that like, you know, we talk a lot about the right for a man to defend himself. Why not the man's right to attack? Or, you know, even like in modern society, it's like, you know, is one allowed to attack if one is threatened that his life is at stake? You know, and once again, this is like kind of more like legal, ethical territory that I'm not going to really go too much into, because I haven't thought about it too much myself personally. So yeah, so you are who you are, and it does seem that like a more fun goal in life is to form yourself into becoming who you personally want to become, and to not strive to become anybody else. So you got your life. Ooh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, so anyways, moving forward, don't let nobody bully you into doing what you don't want to do. Don't let nobody guilt you into feeling the feelings that you don't want to feel. Determine more of your life and know that you're worthy, your thoughts are worthy, your actions are worthy, and the more you augment yourself, the better.